Hi, this is Ruthie, and you're listening to an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast, your Monday through Friday 10-minute shot of business knowledge. Today, we're going to talk about why it's important that you understand your company's value. And I'm not talking about your monetary value, although that's important too. I'm talking about the business value of your offerings. So, whether you offer products or services, it's important for you to understand what value those things have to your prospects. Why? Because it informs your marketing language. It informs your entire strategy. It tells you exactly how you should approach a problem because you believe that you have the solution. But in order to understand that, you have to understand what that problem is costing your prospective clients or customers. So let's say you offer a service, because it's actually really hard for service companies to do this as well as product companies or product based companies. You know that other businesses need what you offer. So let's say it's web design, it's business consulting, business management consulting, or in my case, it's content. I know that other businesses need content marketing strategy. They need help with their development. They need help with their processes. But what does the problem that they have, what problems do they have, and what do they cost my ideal prospects in terms of money, other types of resources like time, effort, stress? All of those things play a role, and they all have a particular amount of value. So even if let's say, a for sure monetary return isn't guaranteed, which is definitely the case with something like content, the stress of not having it. Same with web design. I can't tell you for sure that having your website professionally designed by this person in my network is going to generate X number of dollars in revenue, but you know already that not having a properly designed website costs you in terms of SEO. It costs you in terms of brand sentiment and business impressions. Everybody has a website these days. And if you don't, then you're in a very small minority of people. So when you get looked up, oh no, this person doesn't have a website. It actually makes your business look illegitimate, if you will. So knowing what your business, knowing the value of your offerings to other businesses helps you clarify your message. It can take what started out as an emotional connection and tie it to something logical. And I say emotional connection, maybe they met you at a business event, maybe you were a referral, and getting a referral gets you pretty far with people. But let's say they met you at a couple of events and they really like you, but maybe they're also on a board. And so maybe they're the CEO or they're the CMO, CTO, whatever O, and they have to justify this spending decision to the other members of the board or to their department head or something like that. Them liking you isn't necessarily going to be enough, which is why you need to give them that piece of logic that they can use so that you can take the emotional connection they have with you, give them something logical that they can use to justify the expense and actually move forward with business. So if they like you, they're already looking to say yes. So by being clear on the value of your offerings to another business, you're giving them that reason to say yes. And so many service firms, whether they're consulting firms or service firms, they fail to articulate how what they do actually impacts the business. And so doing this requires a bit more business knowledge than most small entrepreneurs have, beyond what you already do for your own business. If you're a mature small business or a mid-sized company, then you probably already have the knowledge you need to articulate these things properly. It just may not have been clear that it should be tied directly into marketing. But these are all competitive advantages. So when you can be very clear about what it is that you do and how it impacts another business's bottom line, that's a competitive advantage for you. So you want to chart the potential impact of what it is that you can do. And there are a couple of ways that you can do this. You can do it through case studies. So let's say you've worked with companies already and they're willing to share the concrete numbers of any sort of impact that it had. So whether you had internal impact, so let's say in terms of content, a white paper can take 20 to 30 hours to complete over time. And that project can take comfortably probably 6 to 8 weeks to do. So some of the more immediate impact that outsourcing a white paper to someone like myself would have was that, that 20 to 30 hours, first of all, is not something that an employee has to clock time for, because let's be honest, as a former employee, not all 40 of my hours I could, say were definitely, client, work for my company. Because you do things like go to the bathroom and whatever, answering emails and things like that. And so with someone like, when you outsource content to a company like Defy the Status Quo, what that does is yeah, we factor in, okay, we're going to have some email back and forth, but you're not billed for our bathroom trips. You're not billed for anything like that. So that's kind of where the difference is there. And then also 6 to 8 weeks is a long time. If an employee takes up that project half-heartedly, like we mentioned in a previous episode, then it may never get done. It may take 3 months instead, or 4 or 5 months, or you have to consistently remind them. So maybe there's no hand-holding and you don't like hand-holding. So, there's another metric there. Like you as the person who's commissioning the project doesn't have to do a lot of hand-holding, which is something that a lot of my clients value a lot. So if you can, it's always relevant to look at business metrics that are impacted by the project that your company offers. But if not a direct business metric, maybe something like brand perception, right? So again, back to our web design example. What is the impact on the brand, the perception of the brand, if they don't have a website? Like you're saying you're a forward-thinking, innovative digital marketing company, but your website looks like it's from 1995. So there's that as a specific thing. But looking at actual numbers, you could, you as the business could, if you don't have those numbers yourself, you could definitely look up research in terms of marketing and psychology and see how things like website design or lack of a website or things like that can actually impact sales. So, hey, brand perception, went up this many points and sales also went up this many points, or brand perception went down, sales went down, and other business metrics. So there's research out there, almost guaranteed, that could help you add some numbers to turn your business story into a more compelling argument for your services. As service-based businesses, because that's kind of where I focused this episode, as a service-based business, we are often told to sell value. You're not just selling your service. You're not selling time. You're not selling skill necessarily either. You're supposed to focus on selling value. But the question I'll leave you with is, how can you sell value if you don't know what your value is? Okay, that's been an episode of the Defiant Business Podcast. I'm your host, Ruthie, and I look forward to seeing you again. If you are clear on one business metric that your company's services help impact, go ahead and leave it for us in the comments. I'd love to have this discussion and explore your logic behind the business metric that you chose. All right, see you again next time.